Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Coleman, the founder of the Choose Joy Now Network. I'm glad you tuned in today. We have author and business owner of the Optimist Business Solutions. So I want you to stay tuned if you are contemplating a major life change like retirement or changing careers or maybe even writing your first book. Stay tuned because Joy will share with us her journey through these life changes and achievement of these goals. So stay tuned. So with that, Joy, welcome and thank you. Thank you for taking the time out to share with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So as I was introducing you, you have a book and a business, but we're going to go backwards. I'm not going to start there asking you about your business and book. I want to know the journey before you got there, because that's what a lot of others I know can benefit from right up front. Other people are contemplating making that life change, but there's various things holding them back. So let me ask you, how long did you even contemplate retiring first? So I guess we need to say she retired from a long corporate career. 30 years. Right. She started when she was 12, so she's precocious. So, but that's very challenging for people when you have been doing something for so long in a major industry, you know, lots of prestige, you know, in doing that to say, I'm ready for something different. Yeah. I'm going to make a switch. So how long did it take you how long were you contemplating even making the change?
I was more intentional the last 5 years before I left, very intentional. But prior to that, my journey, I had some intentionality around the financial planning, to make sure that we were saving, to make sure that we had a retirement account, that we were trying to put as much in as we could. Living below our means helped. So along the way, my husband and I were making good financial decisions that helped. But the last 5 years, I had a lot of intentionality around it. And what fed into the decision to leave was I knew I had more in me. Yes. I knew I had more to give. Yes. I wasn't as happy as I wanted to be, and I wanted to grow. I wanted to maximize all the gifts that were put in here. Yes. And I just knew I couldn't in my current role. So that was a big driver around, I knew there was a second chapter.
Well,
I had to lead.
Yes, yeah. I need to have a little like a flapper or something to say, ding, ding, ding. That's so key. No, I love that because I think some of us suppress those feelings about we have something more, being afraid for whatever reason of leaving that security to do something different, or just the fact of doing something different, going outside your comfort zone, but that you had something else. And I know with my kids and when I talk to other young people, we have a long life to live. So we don't have to feel we have to stay in one place for the duration of our life. Because we have multiple careers over a lifetime. So that's awesome.
Right.
So during your last 5 years, you became more intentional. And so talk a little bit about what outside counsel. I know I had the pleasure of coaching you during some of this time period as well. So how did, coaching and accountability help you as you think about putting your plan together, like you said, buckling down and really getting to the nitty gritty, as you say.
Right. Well, Lisa, coaching was instrumental in my progress. So while I am naturally intentional about the things I want to achieve in my life, I know that you don't go alone in this world, in whatever we're talking about. So I knew I needed help. So whether it's getting physically fit, I got a trainer. Yes. I had planned to write a book, so I asked you to help me around accountability. I knew I wanted to start a business, so I got a business development coach.
Yes.
So anytime I decided that there's something that is a stretch for me that I want to achieve. I decided I know I need someone who is an expert in this area, can be supportive of me and help hold me accountable so that every time we meet, they're kind of pushing me to say, okay, by the next time we meet, you, and that's what you did for me.
Yes.
You did. You helped me because I am a recovering perfectionist. So I think without your support, I would just keep working on it and working on it and working on it. And I think that's a very normal thing to do when you're working on something like a book or even your business. Part of it, some of it is about being a perfectionist, but some of it is about fear and getting out there. So you just keep working on it and working on it, and that's easier to do, and it's easier to tell people I'm working on it, as opposed to
here it is,
get out there, and you will learn so much more if you just go ahead and get out there. So in terms of support and coaching, it meant the world to me. Now, would I have gotten there? Yes, but I think it is much slower pace.
Yes.
So
Well, I want to reiterate your point. You said get it out there. That's so. I would say start before you're ready, because you won't have anything to edit if you don't get to writing. And things like that, and the whole perfectionist piece. Definitely, I know many people can relate to that. It's like you said, that fear will hold us back. If you take, I say, as far as books, people should look at their favorite authors who may be, bestseller list authors and such. I bet their book also has some kind of little typo or something. So just know that no matter how much you think you're going to do and hire the best people to, edit your book, we are human and things are going to happen. And that still didn't stop that book from becoming a #1 bestseller.
Right.
And so, of course, you'll have some people who that's all they do is they enjoy finding problems with people's books or business, but obviously that's not a concern for us, because obviously they're not the person for us as far as working with us in our business or reading our book. Let them have fun finding errors, because obviously they have other things to work through emotionally if that's what they're focusing on. So I'm just saying you can't escape it, so ignore it, basically.
And Lisa, I just want to share this. When my book was finally delivered to me, so I got my first 10 author copies. So you get those for free. And
go ahead. We'll talk about it in a minute, but I had to put it out there. Go ahead.
But I'll tell you, so I got the book and I decided, because I had to leave town the next day, I thought, okay, I'll read it when I'm on the plane. When I opened it, when I was on the plane, we had taken off, we were in the air, I almost had an anxiety attack. And the reason why is I started reading it, and I started finding things like, oh my gosh, the transition is just, it's really rough, it's not good, and I should have corrected that. And I thought, now it's out there, it's done, and I was almost going into an anxiety attack on the plane. I had to close it and just kind of take it out of my mind, like, don't read it now. But you know what? It's out there.
Yes.
But it's out there. Yeah, and it's fine. And
people still enjoying it.
Yes, and they're still enjoying it, and hopefully they are forgiving.
Of course.
If there's some sections that are not perfect, but that was growth. Though, to say just get it out there, and if it's not perfect, it's like you said. If someone's going to critique it and be critical out there because it's not perfect, well, then go on then.
Right. Have a good day and have a seat somewhere.
Right. And then this book is not intended then for that person. But I just wanted to add that putting it out there, that was tough. But again, you were instrumental in helping me get that far.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit, as far as, because I know I try to help women think about, if you go outside their comfort zone, getting that book out there, then it provides momentum, right? So tell me, so you were able to work through the anxiety of, I found some things that not the way I would have liked it, but it's done. It's out there. The baby is born.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we're going to love the baby.
Yeah, we're gonna love the baby even if it's ugly. It's not ugly, baby.
I was gonna say,
it's not ugly.
our babies are beautiful, and so that's
Beautiful baby.
and so what benefits have you had since then? I mean, as far as the momentum of the fact that you leaped and delivered the baby to the world for us to enjoy.
Yeah, Lisa, that is such a good question. Okay, prior to publishing the book, I get really nervous and anxious around speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Even doing this video, I would have said no, thank you, because I'm not comfortable. As a result of publishing the book and really stretching, I have done a couple of speaking engagements,
Nice.
and in fact, the most recent one, and I think this is a testimony of how God has expanded my territory, because I've trusted the journey and that I'll be okay, because this is His plan. I really feel like He has chosen me for this journey more so than I chose it as we go along. I really feel that. But I'll give you an example of how the territory has expanded and touched other women.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result of doing the book, then my most recent speaking engagement, it was the second one in front of, I think it was about 400 women.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the dais, and again, I thought, I'm gonna have an anxiety attack. Because I've had anxiety attacks before, and when you have them, you are very fearful of having another one because you don't want to break down and melt down in front of everybody.
Right.
So you just have this anxiety around having the attack.
Yes.
But anyway, so I spoke. It went over so well, and in fact, I encouraged everyone to register for what I called a vulnerability challenge, a 30-day vulnerability challenge, where we're going to support each other in not only embracing our strengths, but embracing our vulnerabilities.
Yes.
100 women
Nice.
signed up.
Awesome.
So let's think about that. If I hadn't stretched and walked through, I call it the valley of shadows. So I walked through the valley of the shadow of death thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just going to fall out because I can't do this. It was an illusion. And I walked through that.
Right.
Because I've done that, now more than 100 women have been touched by my willingness to go ahead and walk through the journey. And now they are in this 30-day challenge where they are exploring their vulnerability and learning how to support each other in that space.
Yes.
And that would not happen for those 100 women if I hadn't followed, I think, His guidance and found the way to really stretch in order to do some things that I was very fearful of.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I mean, to share that, because again, I know that there are some high achieving women out there like yourself who would not feel comfortable doing certain things because they feel, I can't knock it out the park. When in fact, you may surprise yourself, especially when it's truly, it's something within you that, a gift that God is asking you to do. But to be cliche, it's true. Feel the fear and do it anyway, because it does get easier. I mean, I feel the same way. It's not easy putting yourself out there, as they say, getting into the arena because of naysayers and such. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Until, like you said, until your territory gets larger, then you have to step through that fear again. But you have that history and that experience that I survived. I more than survived. I'm helping 100 women, with their life that would not have had that benefit if I had said no to my calling. So thank you. That's awesome. So let me ask you another point that I hear women chat about is, I'm too busy. Thanks, Dr. Lisa, but I don't have time for that. Like the lady in the video, And they just feel that they don't have time to, as I say yes to themselves.
Absolutely. And I think as especially being a mother and being a working mother. I think probably most of us have been there where you're just on the treadmill. And that's when I'm talking about my book. I talk about being on the treadmill of goals, expectations, the career ladder, what your family thinks you're supposed to do, what society thinks you're supposed to do. You're trying to keep a marriage together or just to keep a home together if you're not married. There are a lot of pressures. So I get it because I was there. But here's what especially African American women need to understand is that, and there are plenty of articles on it, and that is on the outside, we are strong. We are keeping the finances together, or we're trying the family together, we're trying to be successful at work, but we are paying a price internally, and the data and the research shows it in terms of we have the highest infant mortality rate. In fact, the more educated you are, the worse the rate, because of the pressure increases. We have the highest obesity, the highest blood pressure, just go down the road. So while on the face, we're like, hey, I'm busy, I don't have time, and you appear strong, and you're running on the treadmill. In terms of our emotional, spiritual, and physical health, we are suffering. In fact, for the Vulnerability Challenge, I just shared an article out of Ebony magazine where they show we have African American women who are trying to keep it all together. We have some of the highest rates of depression.
I believe it.
So I really think this is a mask we are wearing, and to some extent, this is just what we know in terms of being on the treadmill.
Yes.
And we feel like we can't get off to make time for ourselves. We have to make time for ourselves. In my book, what I talk about was on that treadmill, I lost myself. I had lost myself for a very long time. So in the book, I talk about my journey and doing a lot of reflection, stopping on the treadmill, and trying to figure out, who am I? How did I get here? And what do I vision for myself moving forward?
So thank you. Since you brought up the book, let's talk about the book a little. We have the Choose Joy Now. We have the book club the third Saturday of every month at the Tease Me Cafe, and you can go to our website to get the link and see the books that we're reading for the month and the link to register. It's free, but we ask you to register. And Joy's book is our selection for the July book club. It's Purpose, a Shift from Driving It to Embracing It. So you shared a little bit about the book. Share a little more about why people should be as excited as we are about your book.
I think at some point we do reflect on, what is my purpose? What am I doing all this for? What am I supposed to do in life? I think especially as you get older and you start to reevaluate the treadmill and if it's been worth it. Sometimes it's a health crisis, or you didn't get to where you wanted to be in your career. It's maybe something that's kind of jolted you into reflection. And so with my book, sharing, and I'm sharing very intimately the reflection that I went through in order to get to the other side and get to a more peaceful place to refine myself. So I would recommend that people buy it and get it, because out of those individuals that have shared with me what they felt as a result of reading the book, they can relate to at least a couple of chapters where I am very vulnerable. I talk about my anxiety. I talk about going through a lawsuit that was emotionally scarring for me, and it took a long time. Now, I wasn't diagnosed with depression, but as I look back, I was in a very, I wasn't in a good place emotionally, and it took me a while to come out of it. And then I discovered that I had a brain tumor, so that contributed to, kind of reevaluating myself and my purpose. So again, the reason why I think people should buy the book, and it's just 82 pages. So I hear Michelle Obama's book is great, but that is a very thick book to read. So if you want something shorter, 82 pages, you can start with mine. Yes. But I think it's a common question to ask. What am I doing? Where am I going? What is my purpose? What has this been all about? And who do I want to be? And what does my life look like moving forward? Those are common questions. And I think just seeing or reading about my journey, I really believe that'll give some insight to other women to prompt or be a catalyst to where they see themselves.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Well, hopefully you will join us for the book club discussion in July 20th, I believe.
Yeah.
2019. So obviously they may see this video a year from now. So it's 2019. But her book will still be available. So even if you missed the book club, you can still get the book and enjoy it and get the lessons for yourself. So thank you.
Okay.
Now, now as I'm saying, you're on the other side. You've journeyed from contemplation about retirement, writing a book, and that next step. And another part of your next step was starting your own business, the Optimist Business Solutions.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about, briefly about what made you, want to start that business. Again, thinking about from the contemplation stage. Again, there may be some ladies out there or some guys as well who want to start their own entrepreneurial effort. So what was some of the thinking behind that led you to want to start a business? And then some of the hurdles you had to get through to push the start button and the go button, and now we have it. So.
Yeah. So being in corporate America for several decades, it was great because I got a foundation for certain skills, being in quality assurance and quality control, and then getting my certification as a Six Sigma black belt. So I got a lot of great skills. But in terms of having an environment where I could be creative, where I could maximize and optimize all that I have to give, both intellectually and just being creative with the things that I think could be possible. In the corporate setting, I'm not sure that is the place.
Yes, I'm aware of corporate life as well. And yes, you have lots of restrictions.
Yes, I mean they're just
for reasons, obviously. Now that you own your business, you can say what you can and can't do, and so when you were corporate, you rightfully so followed what they were asking of you.
And you're put in a box. And there is an assessment of the talent that's in an organization, and so I think it's just part of being in that system where you're kind of labeled or you're on a certain track. And people believe that you should be on a certain track where maybe you have a different vision for yourself, and it's hard to reconcile the two. So I had a vision for myself that was different, and I wanted to be creative. I wanted to use my talents in different ways, and stifling that. People react differently to stifling what is in you. Some people maybe can do it just fine, saying, hey, that maybe that's just not for me, or it's not the right time. I think that was impacting me emotionally, holding down certain aspects of myself. And I talk about that a little bit in my writing. So I had every intention. In fact, my father said, while you are still healthy and you are still young and you still have a sharp mind, get out there, and that stuck with me. Get out there and do what you've been dreaming of doing. Don't wait until now your health is an issue, your quality of life has gone down, and now you're too old. I'm not sure you're too old, but you're at a certain age where you're like, well, now I'm not at the age where it would make sense. So his advice was very instrumental. So I knew I wanted to get out there. What were the hurdles? Part of it is just the illusions
the
that are
mindset.
here. Yeah, the anxiousness, the uncertainty. Oh, and a big question is, will I get clients? You know, will anybody want my service? How do I get out there? But again, it helps to be around a supportive group of people. My husband, who said, yes, you can.
Yes.
My father, who always had an entrepreneurial mindset, was very encouraging. So, and then I had friends, I had coaches, I had, you know, just a group of people who were very supportive. So that support structure is very important. But that was the main thing. It's like, I don't think I questioned myself, can I do it? Because I had the ideas in my mind, and I knew having a service that could help businesses and entrepreneurs be more successful, be efficient, have the infrastructure they needed for success. I knew there was a need for that, but getting people interested and that they would pay for that. The financial, you know, what does that do to our financial stability in our home? But I knew I wanted to take a risk because I had been paying a cost emotionally for not taking a risk for several years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say that. Can you say that again?
I was paying the price.
The emotional part.
Yeah.
Cost.
Yeah, there was an emotional cost for not, and I was feeling it. There was a lot of unhappiness by not being all I could be and not living my vision, and that was really getting to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes, you see, I'm having a moment because that's the thing that I guess I want for others so much is to not pay that cost for too long.
Yeah.
You know, because we want the best for everyone. And like you said, when everyone contributes to the world their gift, then we're all enriched. Because if it wasn't me that needed it right away, perhaps my sister needed it. Somehow I'm connected to someone who needs what you have or what you have. So please, was James Brown, please.
You know, and I will add, so I'm a member of Eastern Star. And I remember one Sunday, Pastor Johnson said, you know, someone's been wanting to go back to school or start a business. And he said, but you don't do it. And he said, and then 5 years later, you're still sitting there saying, I want to start a business. I want to go back to school. He said, in that 5 years you've been thinking about it, you could have already done it. And that stuck with me. Like, I don't want to be one of those folks who's sitting in the pew saying, yeah, I've been talking about doing this for the last 10 years.
And again, even people thinking age, you know, oh, it's, you know, I'm too old. Well, again, do the work, do the research to figure it out. Because unless you're talking about becoming, you know, a renowned ballerina at the age of 50, that may not be possible. But perhaps you could get in that environment where you're providing, you know, some type of support to, you know, ballerinas or dancers. So it's really never too late, I feel, until you're in the grave or disintegrated, you know. You know, I'm crazy, so. But it's never too late. So we need you to do your gift. You know, share your gift with the world, whatever it is. Now, start before you're ready is the thing. And so, as we wrap this up, you know, is there another part? You know, last thing to share, although that was a big one to me, because that's so huge. Don't pay that emotional cost too long when you have something you can share right now. But
I this is something that I have shared with my family and friends, and not everyone is open to it. But when I see family and friends, and they're so busy, they are on the treadmill, and they really cannot even entertain the possibility of making themselves a priority in terms of their health and their wellness, you know, emotionally, physically, and all that. And the message I give to them, and not everybody receives it well,
Sure.
but that's fine, is I don't think God wants you to be a martyr.
Yes.
Whatever you're supposed to do in this life, I think you're supposed to be healthy doing it.
Right.
And being healthy means that you take the time for yourself to just examine what you need to be emotionally, because I'm about the entire wellness,
Sure,
spiritually healthy,
exactly.
financially healthy,
Yes.
you know, just your overall
Yes,
well-being.
for
and,
sure.
and I really believe, I want to say the majority of folks that I talk to, just when you're on that treadmill, you just can't see a different way to be. And that really does sadden me, because I was on it too.
Yeah.
But
And now you're on a quest to help others
Yes,
to stop, as I am, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I will say, again, another plug for the book club. Our August book club selection is called Off the Clock by Laura Vanderkamp.
Yeah.
And it's another must read. It will help challenge your beliefs about, I don't have enough time for this. She talks about different strategies and things that will help you. So again, if you can't join us for the book club, I still urge you to read the book, because it will definitely help you. So thank you so much, Joy, for taking the time out to share with us, and I know move some people to action. I'm sure someone has seen this video and it was the thing they needed to hear, that despite how successful they are, high achieving they are, they still may have anxiety, but they can push through it. They can get the support to help them, stay strong as they move through those tough pieces of going outside of their comfort zone. So appreciate it, and I'm so proud and happy for you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you, Lisa, because you were part of my journey. And just helping me put one step in front of the other.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.